Okay, what we want to do is we want to be able to work on this standard that we've been asked to work on. And the standard is right here. It states that we want to be able to use volume formulas for cylinders, pyramids, cones, and spheres to solve problems. Again, I want to make sure that we're accustomed to using the formula sheet, and this is the formula sheet that you're going to have on the EOCT. It will be on the front cover for the first part and the back cover for the second part on the EOCT. If you'll notice, right here on the formula sheet, it's entitled volume. So those are the formulas you're going to use. If you look for all the formulas, there is a capital B, and the capital B stands for the area of the base. So you will also need to use this part of your formula sheet right here, which is the area formula, and that depends on what type of base you have. If your base is a rectangle, you would use the first formula. If it's a triangle, you would use the second formula, or if it's a circle, you would use the third formula. So every time there's a capital B, you need to remember that that stands for the area of the base. So if we follow this standard, the first thing we want to be able to do is find the volume of a cylinder. And a cylinder is just like a can. The base is a circle. All right, and we did that in class today. Notice that we also have two bases. So if we want to find the volume of a cylinder, then we would look in the volume part of the formula sheet, and we would find the word cylinder, and it says volume equals capital B times H. Now remember, capital B stands for area. So we got to go to the area part of our formula sheet. We know that the base is a circle, so we'll find the circle formula under area. So that's going to be pi r squared. So capital B, if I want to find my volume, capital B is going to equal pi times r squared. Now if I look at my picture, I see that the diameter is 22 feet. So my radius would have to be half of that, which would be 11. So the volume formula says to find capital B, which is area, times H, which is the height of the cylinder. So the height over here is 16, because that can is 16 feet tall. So all we have to do to find the volume is get our calculator out and multiply pi. So hit shift and the pi button times 11 squared times 16. And that tells us our answer is 1,936 pi. And if we want to get the estimated value, we would hit the SD button. And that's going to give me another answer of 6,082.12, so we'll give it 0.1. So that's how you find the volume of a cylinder. Next, let's try to do the volume of a cone. Now, I know this is a cone. It's a cone shape. Remember that cones have a circular base. So I go to my volume part of my formula sheet and I find the word cone. It says 1/3 capital B times H. And remember, capital B is area of the base. So I look under my area formulas. I know my base is a circle, so I need to use the circle formula. So if I want to find the volume, I got to say 1/3 capital B, which is the area of the base, so that's going to be pi times radius squared, which would be the radius in that picture would be 5. That's my capital B. And my H, the height is 13. So again, all I have to do is put that in my calculator. So I'm going to hit my fraction bar, and I'm going to put 1/3 in there. Make sure you hit over times pi, hit your shift button, times 5 squared, times the height, which is 13. And that gives me 325 over 3. pi. That's my exact value. And if I wanted the estimated value, all I need to do is press the SD button. So that would tell me that's 340.339, so 0.3. And that's how you find the volume of a cone. Now in this picture, I want to find the volume of a pyramid. The shape is a pyramid. So I go to the volume part of the formula sheet, and I find the word pyramid. That's the same formula for a cone. So again, it's got the capital B. Remember, capital B stands for the area of the base. So I've got to go to the area part of my formula sheet. Now if I look at the base, what kind of base do I have? Well, it tells me all the sides are equal. That means the base here is a square. It's a parallelogram. I'll put it right here. So square is just a special parallelogram. So that says area equals base times height. So if I want to find the volume, I've got to use my volume formula I circled. So I've got 1/3 times capital B, which in this case is going to be 10, is the base, and the height of the base is 10 because it's a square. And then I've got to multiply that by h, and the height of the pyramid is 12. So all I have to do is find my volume, is get my calculator and press my fraction button. 1/3 times 10 times 10 times 12. And that tells me it is 400. Notice I don't have a pi because I don't have a circle. The final example I want you to look at is, this is an example of a sphere. It's a ball. So if I want to find the volume, I go to the volume part of my formula sheet. I find the word sphere because that's the shape. And the formula tells me to multiply 4/3 times pi r cubed. So if I want to find the volume, I'm going to say the volume V equals 4/3 times pi times r cubed. Now if I notice here, this is my diameter, so half of that would be my radius. So half of 15 is 7.5. If you don't know that, you can divide 15 by 2 and get your answer. And I've got to use my cube. Volume is always cubed. So to find the answer, I'm going to hit the fraction button. I'm going to say 4/3. Make sure you press over, times shift pi, times 7.5 to the third power, and hit equals. And that tells me it's 1,125 over 2 pi. That's my exact answer. If I want my estimated answer, I press the SD button, and that tells me it's 1,767.14. So I'm just going to leave it 0.1. And that's how you use the formula sheet to find the volume. We'll be practicing these more tomorrow. So make sure you got this with you, and we'll get to work tomorrow.